I think we can all be thankful as well that Dan Castellaneta was not Genie in the movie. He's a wonderful voice actor, but was just not it for Genie.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
What's his name? Jim Meskimen? Jim something?
Jim Miskimen?
Yeah, something like that.
Damn, I should know that.
Sorry, Jim.
Yeah, and I also remember that being kind of a particular sore point because I think this came out like shortly after Robin Williams died.
Yeah, the movie, 2014 feels about right.
It just kind of coinciding, being like, oh,
yeah,
man, they found a really good Genie, and
yeah.
Hello!
Just hit them with the Doubtfire. Wake their asses up if they're drifting off.
You've a giant Doubtfire, dear.
I haven't seen Mrs. Doubtfire. That's a big blind spot for me.
What is wrong with you?
Listen,
Every time I turn around, it's like, I haven't done this, I haven't done
that. I've lived a very sheltered life.
What were you doing for 28 years?
Playing Kingdom Hearts! Listening to the wrong Genie voice.
Oh my god, Kingdom Hearts wasn't even out for so long.
PJ, I was born in 96 and KH1 came out in 2002, so it's not like I was living like a robust life up until then.
All I'm saying is that by the time I was 6, I had definitely seen Mrs. Doubtfire multiple times.
Fair enough. Listen, you're a better man than I. We're not here to learn that. We already knew this.
I guess so. Well, speaking of which...
Welcome to No Sad Face, a toxically positive Kingdom Hearts podcast with your hosts, me, Regular Pat, and my co-host, my sweetie Bobini, even though he's a bit of a meanie, PJ from Cabletown. PJ, how are you?
I'm actually kind of like...
Did you like that?
Butterflies in my tummy. Yeah, that's so sweet.
Yeah. The meanie part comes later.
The meanie part is what I'm happy about.
Okay. I should have known.
That's what I'm really
I should have known. I appealed to the darkness in your heart.
Yes. So how are you doing?
I'm good. As of this recording, I think the Days episode has gone out, so we've gotten feedback on that. BBS will be dropping tomorrow for us in the real time. For you guys, you've seen it for 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
But I love both of those episodes. Really happy with the Days response. I know you were a little hesitant about it, but
I was so hesitant.
I think it turned out really well.
Yeah, so the Birth by Sleep episode goes out tomorrow. It's David likes it.
Good.
So that's good.
Yeah.
I like it. I don't like it as much as the Days episode, but you know what? We're learning.
I agree.
We're in the moment.
I think the Days episode was fun just because you got a little mean at the end.
You know what?
And that made it kind of fun.
Some people were really here for it,
yeah,
and other people weren't.
I know it muddies the branding.
I want to clarify something.
Yeah.
If we can.
Mm-hmm.
I know that, like, at the beginning of this podcast, I said, you know, I'm a hater and I want to work on that and I want to fall in love with the series again, and all of that is true. However, the show doesn't work if I can't be mean.
Right.
So, yes, it's in controlled instances, but, like, I don't need anybody, and so far everyone has been pretty great about this, but, like, it's a conceit of the show that we can get funny mean, and it's okay.
And when you said
that's not...
When you said you can't do the show without being mean, I thought you said without being me, which is the same thing. Like,
it's the same thing.
They are synonymous.
6 of one,
you can't
half a
spell
dozen
mean
of the
without
other.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, if I say something that is really rude, that is my personality. It is incredibly hyperbolic. I usually am joking. But this exact sense of humor is why Pat didn't like me when we met.
It's true. I remember talking to Keynote and being like, I don't know about this guy. I remember DMing him.
Yeah, and within a minute, I think of that, I sent Pat a very heartfelt DM. True. Being like, everyone here has been really nice to me. Thank you so much. Pat was like,
I feel like, it was awful.
It was great. So yeah, I'm a bit of a Sour Patch Kid, but I think you guys like it because guess what? I've done the math, Pat.
Yeah.
I've done the math.
Do it.
And this episode that we're recording right now, if all goes to plan, the earliest it'll come out is May 24th.
Yes, that seems right. Yeah.
which is the timing that it would normally be, unless we had a snag, which who knows?
We could.
Which means that it's the day after May 23rd, which means that it has been formally announced that we are nominated for a Million Dreams Award.
Yes, we're not supposed to say that publicly as of recording, but as of when this goes out, it's fair game.
Yes, we have been nominated for a Million Dreams Award in the News and Podcasts category at Reconnect this year, which we will both be attending in person.
Yes, that is also a bit of a recent development. I think we probably decided we were going around when we recorded days, but we booked the tickets, got the flights, ready to go.
We booked it together.
We did.
Were on calls.
I was like, I know I don't need you for this, but I feel like if you're here, it'll be easier for me to make the purchase.
It's like when you get to the age where you can make your own doctor's appointments for the first time.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can do this myself, and I will. But it would be nice if you were, like, on call.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I need moral support. It's a big purchase.
So that's going to be fun. Although, it's still not entirely clear if Pat can make the actual award ceremony.
Yeah, because my flight is it's a pretty quick turnaround from the award show to my flight. So it's either going to be a real close call or PJ's going to have to represent for us when we lose.
Yeah. I love that. I'm already... Pat's never lost a Million Dreams award, now that I'm thinking about it.
What are you saying? What?
Every Million Dreams award that you've been nominated for, you've won.
Oh, yeah. Well, they nominated me again for the two things I already won, and I said, I'm good. I don't need...
Well, I lost the first year, if you remember. I was nominated for art the first year, and I lost to Kim Chiu. And so I've been laying in wait over the past, 3 years?
Yeah.
And this past month, there was a contest on Reddit for the new Reddit banner for r/Kingdom Hearts. And Kim Chiu was one of the only other people who had submitted a banner. And I said, I'm going to beat their ass. Well, I did that. I won by 3 points.
And for the record, we love Kim Chiu. Kim Chiu collaborated with us on, all of us worked on the Wayfinder project, the website.
That's true. Oh, Wayfinder project has new art, by the way.
Yes.
Officially. Go check it out. Kim Chiu is great. Kim Chiu is easily the most talented artist in the Kingdom Hearts community. It's like Kim Chiu, Mel, Holly, and then like a million floors down in the basement.
Big drop off to PJ.
It's me.
Yeah, huge drop off.
Yeah.
Massive.
So eventually, I was nominated for art again this year. Eventually, I'll win. But we gotta wait for all these other people to win or die.
Yeah, you gotta wait your turn.
So it'll take a while.
Yeah.
No, but Kim DM'd me after I won. It was like, oh, I was rooting for you. I was so excited. And I'm like,
that's sweet. That's very nice.
Well, it was nice to beat you once.
Yeah. One and done.
One and done, for sure, for sure. Speaking of one and done, let's talk about Coded. I don't know why that's one and done, because no game in the series has been remade as much as Kingdom Hearts.
You know why it's one and done? Because I played it one time for 1 minute, and I want it to be done.
Yeah, that sounds like you.
Yeah.
Coded is a weird one. I'll admit it. Coded is a weird one. It was announced in the trio. This is one of the handheld trio games. I mentioned in the Days and Birth by Sleep episodes that these three were announced at the same time in 2007. Coded is a weird one because it was developed as a mobile phone game that was only for a phone that existed in Japan. So we never got the original Coded.
Right.
It was developed for the NTT Docomo. Docomo phones are like the biggest phone in Japan. And I can't say whether or not I loved the original Coded because I've never played it.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting because it was developed in part of a bigger platform, an app called Kingdom Hearts Mobile, which is not Vcast.
Right.
It was a separate service for mobile phones in Japan. And what it was a hub where Square Enix would constantly update every month with new material. And so it wasn't just Coded, it was also Avatar Kingdom and a bunch of mini games that would release episodically. Our friend Aid has done a really great job of preserving and documenting KH Mobile and what it did. And preserving that kind of lost legacy because, aside from the fact that it was only on a certain kind of phone in Japan, it was also only in Japan. So an even smaller subsect of the small subsect of people who could have played it had not. So it was a weird one. But when Kingdom Hearts Mobile launched November 18th, 2008 for the NTT Docomo, the very first thing that came was actually a demo. That had like a pre-release sort of chapter that took place in Olympus. But then the first actual episode of Coded came out on June 3rd, 2009. and it released an episode pretty much every month until the game was concluded in January of 2010. So that, you know, that's interesting. It's a fun little thing. This was the first episodic Kingdom Hearts game, which, you know, it seems to be that like that was the case with mobile games in general with Kingdom Hearts, is that
right.
you get them, you get the chapters, you get the updates, whatever.
The slow drip.
A couple interesting things though. So like I said, the game was developed for the NTT Docomo, and the clock tower on the cover of Kingdom Hearts 3 is a real building in Japan. It is the Docomo building. So I don't know if Nomura did that as kind of like a nod to Coded and its legacy, or if it's just because like this is one of the biggest buildings in Japan and it looks awesome and it's cool.
Could be both. I like that idea as someone who's not, you know, a super big Coded guy. Like if we're gonna try to represent like the series in its entirety, because you have characters from, you know, the nearly 20-year history, to have that as like, hey, and Coded's here too. So that's cute.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of neat little things about it. I won't get too much into it because, you know, we have our sections coming up. But something that I actually just learned today, and I don't know, I forgot if I knew, but I think I didn't know this beforehand. Coded had a co-director that was not Tetsuya Nomura, and it wasn't Tayasue. It was
the bottle of alcohol that he drank during the whole development. Right?
You've disproven that.
I know we have.
You disproved that. Otto disproved that. Like, it is old news. The co-director was Hajime Tabata. Yeah, who is kind of a darling now in the Square Enix world. Tabata is mostly known at this point for being the director of Final Fantasy 15.
Why'd you say that? Why you say that with such a pained voice?
Because Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts had a weird kind of relationship.
That's true.
I mean, I guess it's not Tabata's fault necessarily. I'm not really sure what the dynamics were of it. Tabata did a lot of games at Square Enix. He was the director of Crisis Core. He was the director of The Third Birthday. He was the director of Type 0, Agito, which I got raked over the coals for that. I'm sorry. When I knew about it, it was called Type 0.
Yeah.
And I did not care about the game at all. Brave Exvius, and then he ended up taking over for Nomura for the Final Fantasy 15 saga. And then he famously left Square Enix, and Final Fantasy 15 as a franchise got canceled. But I did think it's interesting because we don't really think much about Tabata in terms of Kingdom Hearts, because that's literally all he did was Coded.
Right, yeah. Sort of a weird little footnote for him.
I think it's because he was really the mobile guy at Square for a while. Like, he worked on, before Crisis, Final Fantasy 7, he was the director of that, if I didn't mention that earlier. And that was a mobile game. It was one of Square Enix's most famous mobile games.
Yeah.
And then he worked on a game called Monotone, which was a mobile game. And Crisis Core was a PSP game, but still, like, he seemed to be like the handheld mobile game for a while. And that's interesting. And of course, when Coded got remade, he was not the co-director anymore. But yeah, an interesting kind of thing, because you never hear about that. But like I said, Coded only came out for the Docomo phone, and America was kind of like, this seems like important. This seems like maybe this is a Kingdom Hearts game that we didn't get, maybe?
Yeah.
Is that allowed? And the rest of the world was kind of like, well, you know, we didn't get Rechain of Memories, so calm down.
Suck it. Yeah.
And then Square Enix was like, that's a great point, America. We will give you Coded, and you're gonna love it. And America was like, boy, I cannot wait to play Coded. I'm so excited for this game.
Yeah.
So Coded was remade for the Nintendo DS. It was called Recoded. Now, if Alex, I'm talking directly to you, in the Kingdom Hearts world, when games are remade in the series, the games are given the prefix re, and usually a colon, which means remake. So it's recoded, which fits as a word, but it's re-colon coded. So because it's a remake of Coded.
Right.
And for most people have long since forgotten that this is a remake in terms of like general fan discourse. People exclusively call Coded Recoded now.
Yeah.
I don't know
Because we don't have
it sounds better.
We don't have materials for the old stuff, so it's like, it's sort of an Americentric discussion about the game because like we didn't get it the OG, so to us it really is just recoded.
Well, if you look at like, I'm sure in past episodes or like if you've ever caught me talking about Coded, I never call it Recoded. And it's not because of semantics, it's just because it was introduced to me as Coded.
Right, that's fair.
And so it's still like part and parcel of the same thing. But yeah, it was interesting that it got remade, and it got remade really quickly, like in a totally different
very
fashion
quick turnaround
for the DS.
I didn't know that the episodes stopped releasing in early 2010, so that's a very quick turnaround.
Yeah, I'll talk more about this when we get to our thing, but yeah, it Coded coincided with Days and Birth by Sleep, like it meant to be revolving around those two.
Right.
And the DS version came out in Japan in October. So like that is less than a year turnaround time to like remake the game on a new console. And then in America and in Canada it came out on January 11th, and then the rest of the world got January 14th, 2011, which is cute because then for America in particular, it was like it kind of looked like binary because it was like 111.
Oh yeah. That is cute.
And I think, how do I say this? People have not been kind to Coded.
No.
I think it is the most openly maligned game of the series. Sure. And it's not, I wouldn't even say it's maligned. I would just say that people are indifferent.
Yeah.
And it's like, skip it, which in a way hurts more than hating it.
I agree. Like, I don't even have the energy to like get a good hate into Coded. Like, I'm nothing it. And the opposite of love is not hate. It is apathy.
Yeah. Total indifference. Which I think is a shame, obviously, because I think like a lot of love did go into it. When you look at how the games are built, again, I'll wait. We can get into this later. But like they learned a lot about how to make a DS game. Like, some things worked well for Days and some things didn't. And some things worked really well for like The World Ends With You that they borrowed. And they made like a new, cool, fun game. The publisher was Square Enix, but the actual developer of Recoded was HAND. Hand.
Yeah.
And they've worked on some stuff with Kingdom Hearts before. They're a lot of fun. It's a good time. But yeah, unfortunately, Days and Coded both kind of get the lost handheld kind of treatment because when the games were re-released for the remixes in 2013 and 2014, Days and Coded were both turned into cinematic presentations.
Right.
And the Coded movie is interesting because they looked at what they did with Days and they were like, oh, we gotta step our pussies up. So, the text interludes are all narrated, which is different from Days, and they include like battle scenes and stuff. Like they wanted to make it way more cohesive and like an actual experience.
Really makes me wish they would have done those movies in the opposite order, but
Aww.
I mean, wouldn't it have been nice to get like, remember when the Days movie just doesn't do the Roxas and Shion with the Orcus in Halloween Town? That's all text. That's crazy. Yeah, that's such a pivotal thing, and it's just a still with text.
You know what's even crazier? The night that when they first showed the first orchestra trailer, the one that kind of put Kingdom Hearts 3 back on the press track, Nomura was like, oh, and we're patching 1.5. And everyone was like, what do you mean you're patching 1.5? And he was like, yeah, we're gonna add something. We're gonna add the Shion Roxas fight.
Yeah, yeah.
And everyone was like, what do you mean you're just cracking it open?
Plopping it in.
Yeah. 4 years because what?
Which is so awesome. Like, I just wish they'd do weird shit like that all the time, They were just gonna add it in.
They would if they could, because when you look at what they do, like, every once in a while you're like, why did they change that? When did they change that? Like, when they brought Ben Diskin's voice in for Birth by Sleep to replace David Gallagher's voice for young Xehanort when the game came to PlayStation 4, I believe.
That seems
which is
right,
which is like a fucking bizarre, like, oh, now you're patching it? Like, now you're changing it?
Yeah.
And then, when... oh, God, it kills me every time when Terra's cape just pops out of his back.
Yeah, you don't like this?
I think it's hilarious. I love it, but it's also the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
For sure.
Like a piece of, like, cheese just slides through... You know what I mean? It's like, when your slice of cheese falls out of your sandwich, like that's exactly what it is. Just pow. Yeah. Just so fucking stupid. But I love it when they do shit like that.
Yeah.
I love it when they're like, you know what? This was wrong of us. Let me just change this real quick.
Yeah.
And I think that they would do it more often if they weren't so enamored with getting the next thing done, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of where we are with Coded. From its initial development, it was supposed to start, I think, getting released in 2008, and they moved it to 2009. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Someone check me. But it lasted through 2009, ended in 2010, remade in 2010 and 2011, and then made into a movie in 2014. Like, wow, what a time.
What a journey.
What a gift. I think maybe it's time for us to kind of dive into it. I'm really excited. Actually, Pat, why don't you go ahead and go first with your positive stuff about Coded?
Of course.
I'll grab my phone here.
Okay.
And do the timing.
All right. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
You're ready?
Yeah.
Great. Because I am too.
Cool.
I'm ready to go. So you just let me know.
I've started and restarted the counter multiple times, so I'm not really sure.
Got it.
Like when you're actually starting. So when you're actually starting, say it, and then I'll press start.
Okay. Here I am going to start with the good things that I brought to say right now. Okay. PJ, is it too late to reschedule?
I guess we can keep everything that we just recorded, but like what's going on?
So my dog, my canine companion that I have, I hand wrote my notes on all the things I like about Coded.
Leave Keynote out of this.
Listen.
Okay.
You weren't supposed to know that's what I called the dog. He ate the notes that I had. I got nothing.
Just you never have notes. You usually just speak freely. So like I don't.
Of course. Right.
You're fine. Just
okay. I'll just go off the top of the dome.
You know what you know like the main.
Here we go.
So like go ahead.
Give me a beat off the top of the dome. Let's get it. Recoded is a game.
Coded is a game. You're right.
It turned into a movie as well in 2014.
We covered all of that.
Right. That guy, what was his name? Tabata? He worked on it.
Patrick, I can't shake the feeling that you never had anything.
That's a bold-faced fucking lie, and you know it. I am just warming up. Just give me a couple minutes.
Heard that
Recoded before. Has Sora. He's in it. You
weren't ready. You didn't get anything ready.
Come on, man. What do you want from me? I'm working on
Pat,
videos.
The entire reason this podcast exists is to make you talk nice about Coded specifically.
Oh my god. Whatever.
That was the whole thing, was that it would be a good hee hee ha ha because you famously hate the game. If you go and look at our comment history, like David, show him. There are so many screenshots that we have of people saying specifically that they cannot wait for Coded.
Yeah.
Well,
they can keep waiting. Because I got fucking nothing to say about this steaming pile of shit.
You don't have one nice thing to say about Recoded.
I have nothing, PJ. What are we doing here?
Pat?
What?
Pull over.
No, I'm not pulling over.
Pull over?
You don't even have your fucking license to fly this thing.
You think I'm gonna... sick of this. I am so sick. Every fucking show, we come on and you say, no, I got it. And then I have to wait for 5 minutes. And usually it's okay. It's fine. Because I know that you'll get there eventually. We pop a blue chew, you get it eventually, and it's fine. But right now, I'm at my limit. Okay? So what we're going to do is that we are going to turn this thing around, and you're going to pull over right there. Okay? Because I have a plan.
All right. Fine. Let's go.
God,
I'm making a
wear
U-B.
your fucking seatbelt.
Why would I wear my seatbelt? There's no fucking laws. It's space. Fine. Jesus Christ. All right.
Good. Okay, great. Well,
We're
if
landed.
if you'd get your head out of your ass for 5 seconds, you would notice that we are at a familiar location. Welcome to the Coliseum.
Oh, look, it's so nice here.
Yeah,
I love what they did with the place.
Because people here care. They care about what they do.
What are you implying?
Okay, whatever. The point of the matter is, we're here because we're gonna fight.
Ugh.
And it's fine, because you know what? I know the guy that runs it.
Wait, you and me are fighting against someone else, right?
Look, I'm gonna call the guy that runs it.
Okay.
I have him on speed dial. Every time we record, I do send him a message. Because this is what happens. This was in the contract that we prepared, that you signed with a notary public in the room, that I know you didn't read, saying in the event that one of us has nothing nice to say, the other one can beat their ass.
Trial by combat.
So please welcome. Oh, here we go. Welcome to the vestibule. Our MC for today, the manager of the Coliseum, and our moderator for today's debate. Please give it up for Chaineh.
Woo!
Hello.
Hi, Chaineh.
Thank you.
You're looking shorter and hairier and goatier than usual.
That's right.
Is that what we're doing? Okay.
Yeah, he's Phil.
I guess I'm Phil now. Anyway, Pat, my friend.
Yeah.
PJ told me that you were having a bit of trouble coming up with some nice things to say about Coded.
We're having marital issues, yes.
As per usual. Well, I figured since you two have, like, a history together, I figured a place in the date escape would be appropriate, so I opened up my chain domain to host a debate between the two of you to determine the absolutely true and completely objective opinion of Coded for a price.
For a price?
What was that?
We'll get to that later. PJ, first of all, thank you so much for having me here in my own
I'm having
Coliseum.
you here, too. I'm having you here, too. It's my podcast as well.
You did threaten to blackmail me, by the way. So
Just because I didn't read the thing before I signed doesn't mean I don't want Shane here. I think Shane's great.
Well, I mean,
So-
you can't read, so that's kind of my bad.
That's fair.
So here's the rules, all right? You two will have 10 minutes to go absolutely bonkers at each other over Coded. I'm talking...
Just like Reno.
Just like Reno. I'm talking about wacko blammo, silly willy, absolutely nuts.
And you're going to watch just like Reno.
Yeah, think of me as like the owl taking your metaphorical, like, rare nuts from KH1.
Yeah. Take my rare nuts.
PJ, you will be taking the affirmative stance in support of Coded.
Obviously.
Pat,
Oh, damn, I wanted that one.
well, you will be taking the negative stance in opposition
I
to Coded.
hate you so much.
All right, let's go. Gloves off, baby. I'm not going to pull any punches.
Well,
Wait, hold on. Clarity. What, how, so you said 10 minutes, so
Yes.
the two of us together for one joint session of 10 minutes, back and forth.
Correct. And at the end of those 10 minutes, I will render judgment upon you, ultimately determining a winner and a loser. Now, during your arguments, keep these things in mind. You may refer to either Coded, Recoded DS, or the Remix movie separately or as a whole, but I will be making a singular judgment based on your proposition or opposition, so keep that in mind. And of course, be safe, be kind, be courteous.
Oh, thank you, Shane. Thanks, Shane.
But
I love a free ad.
you're welcome. But of course, this would not be any fun without a prize. So you want to know what you're playing for?
Ooh, honor, integrity.
A big bag of chocolate.
You know,
What's the prize, Shane?
you know, I'm fresh out of both chocolate, honor, and integrity. The loser of the debate must then take 5 minutes to take the opposite stance of what they debated. In other words, Pat, you'll have to say nice things for 5 minutes about Coded if you lose. Or PJ, if you lose, you have to say mean things about Coded for 5 minutes.
5 minutes? No, wait a minute. When we do the normal episodes, it's usually just a minute.
Worth playing for?
No.
You know what? You are the owl. But you're not the owl from 100 Acre Wood. You're like the owl from Duolingo, who's incredibly annoying and is going to get replaced by AI.
Yeah, let's replace Shane with AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, next time we debate.
Oh, that would be so cute. It'd be chain in lowercase letters, but then the AI and chain would be uppercase.
Shane.
Now, of course, we
Anyway.
haven't discussed the subject of payment. As payment for using my hosting and judging abilities, PJ has agreed to let me
What?
say my thoughts about Coded, both good and bad.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
I don't
Little
really
third
remember
wheeling.
saying.
I'll give you a minute to
That?
strategize, and we'll get started.
All right, I'm cooking.
I might regret this a little bit.
I don't regret it at all. I'm ready.
Okay, well, let me get my armor on. I had Esper make you some custom armor too, Pat. because I love you
thank you.
so much.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And thank you, Esper.
Really fits your aesthetic.
Yeah.
Fucking goofy. Okay.
What was that? Did you
Let's
say?
go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. PJ, are you ready?
Yeah.
Pat, are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be, Chain.
I've got 10 minutes on the clock. Begin.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I would like to present to you the opening cutscenes of both Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance and Kingdom Hearts 3. You might be wondering, Pat, why are you even talking about this? Not even the episode that we're on right now. Listen. Watch those opening cinematics, right? Watch how they basically give you a soft retelling of the entire series. They kind of go from game to game. KH1, oh, here's some calm stuff. We're going to get into 2. Here's Days. They love that. Roxas and Axel fight in the Twilight Town mansion basement. They show that every chance they can get. And that's all to catch you up to speed to where we are in the current moment. Okay, now I'm ready to play Dream Drop, ready to play KH3. You know what they didn't fucking show in either of those openings? Because it doesn't matter a goddamn lick. Fucking Data bug blocks. None of that. Data Sora, Data Roxas, Data, none of it. Because it's, listen, what are we doing here? We don't need that. No
How do
need.
you know they're not the Data versions? They are identical.
Don't play dumb with me. You're really cute when you play dumb, but I'm not going to allow it here in the debate.
What are you talking about?
I'm winning. I'm so clearly winning.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Look, here's the thing. First of all, the Kingdom Hearts 3 opening, you know what else it doesn't show? Nominee.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
Because they haven't remembered her yet. They haven't remembered her. They don't know.
They knew who Nominee was in Kingdom Hearts 3. That's ridiculous. And if they
don't talk about her then.
Shion is all over both of those openings.
Okay, that's fair.
Canonically nobody remembers her.
That's a great point.
So how about you sit down for a second and let me prove my point? Pat's a silly goose. Everybody knows that Pat's a silly goose who hates fun. He hates fun. He doesn't like Coded. He doesn't like Dream Drop. So what the fuck is he even talking about bringing up Dream Drop right now? Get Dream Drop's name out of your mouth. Like, seriously. Coded is a fun time. Coded is a little fun time that was never meant to be what it is, okay? It was meant to be a fun mobile service thing, and the only reason why it exists in the form that it currently exists is because fans got impatient and they got entitled. Coded never got the opportunity to be anything more than what it was, which is what it was supposed to be. Because people wanted it to be done immediately. There was less than a year turnaround time to bring it to the DS. And when they did, they built a whole new system, which is arguably one of the most fun gameplay systems in Kingdom Hearts history. Every world has its own special gimmick, which calls back to the tropes of former video games. You've got some nods to Pokemon in Dream Drop, I'll give you that. But when it comes to Coded, you've got the hits, you've got the Pac-Man, okay? You've got the turn-based with the Final Fantasy. You've got some good side-scroller stuff here and there. Like, it is a love letter not just to Kingdom Hearts, but to games in general, and it's fun, and it changes every time. If you're going to tell me that the system sectors don't remind you of Persona, I thought you were a huge Persona fan, Pat. What's that about?
You can't just see red and black and say, oh, it's Memento's Persona 5. That's not how that works, PJ.
Okay, well, first of all, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how there are these dungeons that are kind of separated from the main, kind of a break in the Disney stuff. And also, like, if you're there for too long, you get chased by this really hard to beat
like a Reaper
creature.
I got what you're saying.
Like, yeah, oh, look at that. A concession, everyone. Concession, which, by the way, is where Pat's going to end up, because I'm going to knock him out of a job, and he's going to be selling concessions. Thank you so much.
Shane, can I work concessions at your Coliseum?
The timer's ticking. Better fight.
Herculade.
Just trying to, well, no, I mean, PJ, here's the thing. Like, not to, like, you know, harp on my point, but, like, the people that made the game, I don't even, like, they don't think it's worth playing or really even experiencing. Like, if they're not including it in, like, the series-wide sort of retrospective material that they present to the players.
Days.
Like, no, that's fair. That's
Oh my
fair.
God.
But at least Days gets some rep in those moments. Like, Days has a through line through those intros, and like it's, you know, it's a huge part of KH3, the culmination of this arc. And what does Coded get? It gets like a fucking reference in Twilight Town, because even the people making the game know, that was just kind of like a throwaway, like, you know, waste a couple afternoons on a plane. If you're that's how I played Recoded, by the way. I played Recoded mostly on a flight to Florida, and by the time I was ready to go back from Disney World, I was like, you know, even though there's a 2-hour flight here, I think I'd rather just take a nap than play any more of this. Like, even as a
blame
kid,
the stink of Florida on Coded.
I'm not blaming the stink of
That's not
Florida.
what
I'm
that is.
saying I'm a child. I have a Nintendo DS for 2 long plane flights, and even then I was like, like I can tell this isn't really going anywhere. The game doesn't treat itself with any amount of gravitas. Like, you just it kind of teases you into making you think like, oh, we're gonna get these little moments of like, Ansem sending Riku to Hollow Bastion with the brown robe, or like Riku and Kairi at the clock tower. Like, if the whole game was like about filling in these secret gaps from KH1 and beyond, then I would be on the hook there. But it never delivers on any of that.
I am so
5
fucking
minutes, wow.
tired of hearing about Kairi at the clock tower. Like, what a dumb thing. I hope nobody makes a video about it.
I hope it hasn't been out for a few weeks.
Here's the other thing as well. I definitely think that Coded took a hard turn in what it was going to do with the story, because there are some unresolved plot threads, of course, But I also think that when you're looking at what it did, you have to keep in mind that it was an episodic game. You're not supposed to play it on a 2-hour flight to Florida. People in Osaka who are on a train are not supposed to be playing Kingdom Hearts Coded on flights to Florida. That's not what the game existed for. It is episodic by nature. You're supposed to play a little, put it down. You're supposed to play a little, put it down. Mm-hmm. The whole thing was actually ingeniously released and woven around the other Kingdom Hearts games so that it could properly set up the payoff to the saga, which Coded does. Now, I know what you're thinking, like, what are you talking about? What does it have to do with anything? Well, Coded's plot released all of its episodes except for the last one before Birth by Sleep. Birth by Sleep came out. Blank Points happened. We all know how much I love Blank Points. Mm-hmm. And then the last episode of Coded came out shortly around the same time as Birth by Sleep. So that it wasn't like a huge spoiler. You could play both, and then you would get the 1-2 punch of Blank Points and the end of Coded and the letter and the fact that Naminé found these memories and the fact that, now Sora knows and this is why he knows. And it does a lot of really great, like, retroactive character development for Sora, for Riku, for their dynamic, for Roxas, and for Naminé. Like, Naminé is really the MVP of this game. And of the saga. She does not get nearly enough credit or love, but this game really outlines the fact that, like, hey, she saw something, and she noticed that there are a lot of people that are really hurting right now. And she had, like, hardly any time to do anything about it. And so her one little recourse, like, because we're talking in between the end of 2, which is when this would have had to have happened, and when she gets separated from Roxas and Sora, like a matter of days, when she would have stumbled across the memories of Ven, Diz putting the data in Sora, and the whole end of Roxas's arc. Like, there's not a lot of time. And Naminé, like, makes the most of it. So, I'm not a huge fan of, like, retconning in plots, but this particular plot line, the way that it was structured, really did add a level of, like, gravitas here. And doing it in a way where, like, you could play Coded up to the point and just play it as it released, and you still wouldn't get spoiled on, like, the end of Birth by Sleep, but also that the Birth by Sleep would not, like, spoil the end of Coded. It was, like, really great storytelling. It was, like, they were cognizant of release schedules with mobile development in a way that they certainly weren't for 3 and Key, or Unchained Key, or Union Cross. And I think that, like, nobody's really cognizant of that because, of course, the game didn't do that in America. But still, like, you can't always take these games out of context. I wish that you could, but when you kind of level it up like that, it's actually really good storytelling. It's just that, you're kind of treating it as its own thing, and it was never meant to be that.
Well, look at this guy over here. He thinks that, speaking eloquently and making great points means he's going to win the debate, as if that's better than just screaming and being mad.
And another thing, I think that they really, really did a great job of updating the command deck system on a smaller platform and integrating it in a way that, like, fit the aesthetic of a data world. Like, the command matrix is, like, actually really cool.
1 minute!
If only the way that you, like, click and you flip it and you put your thing down and you flip it and you reverse it. Like, that whole thing is just a lot of fun, and it's very charming. The talking sprites that they have brought in, instead of, like, making you stare at those ugly fucking models like in Days, huge improvement. The little pockets of voice acting, of course, are a lot of fun. Yeah. The Disney characters are way more involved, but just a lot of fun. It's just fun. Do you hate fun?
I don't hate fun, PJ. I just want to feel like I'm doing something of consequence. I totally understand your points about the end game and the nominee and the story and character development of it all. But like, it's just like my issues, my qualms with Cage 2. I have to wade through so much self-concerned nonsense and garbage to get there that I don't feel like my time is being respected, especially after just coming off of something like A Birth by Sleep, which is what many players did back when these games originally released. Like, I feel like in BBS, we're going to a world, we're getting stuff of actual consequence, not just like, hey, you know, MDG hanging out in the library and you know, chilling with Data Riku and talking about stuff that just is not going to ultimately end up mattering.
Speaking of not respecting your time is up. Thank you both. I will now take a minute to review your points, and we will declare a winner.
Sure.
Feel free to fight among yourselves anyway, but...
Yeah, while you're doing that. What do you mean it doesn't matter? Kingdom Hearts 3's entire arc wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Coda.
No, I understand, but like I feel like you're willfully missing my point about like everything leading up to that final hour of Castle Oblivion. None of that matters. Like, I get that we have to do it to get to that point in Castle Oblivion, but in terms of like my time being respected while I'm playing the game, like it's not happening. Like, it's just tossing me like usual from Disney World to Disney World. And, you know, oh, here's P, oh, here's Data Riku, and just, like, maybe the game thinks it's doing something important, but it just isn't until those last few scenes in with Data Roxas and then Naminé at the very end in the memory pod room. I mean, agree to disagree, like, we're, you know...
I do disagree, because I think that there's a lot of really good development for the Disney characters, for Maleficent, for Pete. I think that's a lot of fun. But I also think that, like, this game also does a really important thing for the next game, Dream Drop, where it peppers in this ongoing arc that kind of really kicks into high gear of, hey, Sora is not a perfect protagonist, and he's not happy-go-lucky all the time. And if he doesn't really deal with what's happening, and he continues to take on other people's pain, it will lead to his downfall, which it did. Like, that's one of the biggest themes. The two big things of Coded are, hey, there are a lot of people who are in pain, and there's no other way that you're going to know about this unless you confront what I'm telling you. And also, hey, if you take on all of that pain as your own, which you're wont to do because you're Sora, it will drag you into darkness, and you will be lost. You have to lean on other people in order to circumvent or conquer your pain and your darkness. And unfortunately, real Sora doesn't take all of that into account because they isolate him in 3D. But the warning was still there. It was still justified. It was... They telegraph stories to us in Kingdom Hearts. Like, things are very rarely actually a surprise in the plot if you're paying attention.
That's true. And I can appreciate all of that. I think the difference that we have in terms of our take on the game is that I feel like you have an appreciation for it in terms of how it builds characters and plot lines for future games, whereas like I'm really concerned with what's happening in the moment as I'm playing it. From moment to moment, I'm just not that engaged. Like, I get like looking back and saying like, okay, well, if you really think about it, these scenes with Sora and Data Roxas, like it's building up to something. It's going to be pivotal for Dream Drop. It does set up the conclusion of 3, but that's only really with the benefit of hindsight. I think when I was playing it in the moment as a kid, you know, and I was pretty easily pleased and entertained at that age. Like, I didn't feel like anything I was doing mattered that much. I just, again, I cannot get past that. I do not think the devs themselves really look back at the game with that much fondness, considering they never went, I know they didn't do this with Days either, but they never went the route of giving it a full remake on a modern console, and they also hardly ever reference it, you know, in any meaningful way outside of that Twilight Jump scene.
They also challenge that exact line of thinking in the Castle Oblivion sections, when Roxas is like, nothing you do here is real. These people aren't real, so this journey does not matter.
I just think
you can do whatever you want.
Just the fact
so
that
they're cognizant of it, and Sora still chooses to go ahead and do it.
But acknowledging it doesn't make it any fun or any good. Like, just the fact that, like, just saying this is
that's subjective.
No, I get that, and that's what this is all about. At the end of the day, it's just a subjective, you know, disagreement on you know how we feel about the games. But it's just like when something acknowledges that, like, oh, I'm doing something meta, I'm breaking the fourth wall. It doesn't make it smart. It just means that you know how to do that. Just because they're acknowledging that, oh, a character said, hey, none of this matters, and so if you think none of this matters, then you're part of the problem, fucker. It's like, no, none of it matters because I'm not having fun. It's not building up to anything important.
But it could be building up to something important We just don't know the full scope of everything. I believe.
Yeah, sure.
I guess we'll never know. Friends, it is time to hear the results. If you will please take your places.
Okay.
PJ.
Okay. Yes. Hello.
You talked about how Coded is a love letter to video games, including itself, and is an overall fun experience.
Yes, that's true.
But you did also talk about Coded existed only because fans were entitled, kind of downplaying your argument. Pat.
I yelled. I'm sorry.
You yelled about having to wade through a slog of a game and the plot being overly self-concerned. But you did concede with a lot of PJ's points.
Because look at him. He's a handsome guy.
Aw.
I've weighed the results. The winner of today's debate is PJ.
Yeah.
Yay! I did it. I did it. I
Definitely.
did it, everybody.
Good decision.
Oh, God. I worked so hard on that. Thank you so much.
That was a good choice.
Thank you.
PJ, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you, Chaineh.
Pat, due to the fact of local copyright laws, we cannot have you lip sync to the lyrics of Simple and Clean. Instead, we will make you debate for 5 minutes. Well, not even debate. Just talk for 5 minutes about something nice about Recoded. Or a few things.
Okay.
I'll give you a minute to prepare if you'd like.
Yeah, no, I'm ready. I'm glad that I lost. I threw it, actually, because I was just biding my time, thinking as I was yelling. I was multitasking, because actually, I have a lot of good things to say about Recoded, because we are no sad face. We're here to be nice. We never had the fight. We didn't have to do that. You fucking kicked me in the shin. Ow. Ow. And you didn't have to bite, either. I thought that was against the rules.
No.
But I got teeth marks on my arm. Coded, you know what? I love Wonder of Electron and No More Bugs. 2 excellent tracks that I am so glad that they continue to keep in the series memory by representing them in Melody of Memory. They are incredibly fun to play. They're bops, they're bangers. It's not represented in Melmem, but I love a little pretty abilities. I think, not a ton of new music for Recoded, but the couple of tracks, the handful of tracks that they came with, all great. Typical Shimamura fare. Love it. How was that 5 minutes?
4:30.
Got it. Okay. Well, I will say, as somebody who I don't first and foremost come to a Kingdom Hearts game for the raw gameplay, and I think that has to do with why people are, often surprised with my, misalignment towards Coded, is that I am not having that much fun. Or not that I'm not having fun, but I'm not overly focused on the gameplay stylings. I will give Coded some credit for a handheld command deck style game. It does have a lot of juice to it, especially when compared to Birth by Sleep. It feels a lot tighter, there's a lot more intention and intentionality in the combos and what you can do in that game. It's not as, free form and kind of, I hate to say the F word, but floaty. And not that floaty is always a bad thing, but I feel like it doesn't serve Birth by Sleep as well, and I do think that tighter style serves Coded better. Coded also really goes hard on the platforming stuff, and that is something that I do enjoy in a Kingdom Hearts game, and it's actually no exception in Coded. The occasions in the system sectors, I especially remember a lot of bits in Wonderland where you're jumping around on stuff and, making these tricky jumps and navigating. I mean, to its credit, there is some exploration to be had in Coded in a way that you don't really get it in a game like a KH2 or a Dream Drop. So I do think that is an unsung success of the game, is the world design even. And I'll give it to the combat here and there. I think when I played it on stream recently, I wasn't having that good of a time because I, did not take the time needed to sink my teeth into the complexities of the gameplay systems. I was, kind of multitasking and trying to, entertain an audience. That tends to be my pitfall with streaming games, is that I'm not going to be playing as well and thinking as deeply about stuff when I'm streaming it, because you're kind of doing 2 things at the same time. So I will concede that I did not give it the fairest of chances when I most recently revisited it, maybe 2-ish years ago now. What else?
You
have 5 minutes left.
Still 5 minutes? Okay. Well, I actually really, really like, maybe not so much to play it, but I can appreciate the angle they took with Donald and Goofy in Hollow Bastion and your visit there in this game. It really is like the sort of tangible version of My Friends Are My Power. Really, in since Beast in KH1, when you get the wooden sword and you're stuck there with him for that first stretch of Hollow Bastion, we haven't seen like that mantra exemplified, and Donald and Goofy are basically doing everything for you for that long stretch there in Hollow Bastion. So that's really neat. I don't really remember finding it especially fun, but as an idea, I'm a big fan of it. And to its credit, and PJ touched on this, I think, switching up the gameplay stylings, if you're not in love with how one world is doing things, fear not, because the next world is going to do something entirely different. I feel like the first 3 worlds play it kind of straight with, typical action, adventure, platforming stuff, but then Olympus has the... what do you call it? The RPG. I mean, and even to its credit, Wonderland has the sort of on-rails shooter stuff with the Trickmaster fight at the end. And then, again, with Hollow Bastion, with the complete, overhaul of the combat system with D&G. I might call it more disjointed than strictly serving the game's sense of variety in a positive way, but it's, again, subjective. The Inklings thing in Wonderland was pretty cool. I actually like how that's like a puzzle where you have to like go around to different various locations and gather these like key words for a puzzle, and bring it back to the central area and like, slot in the words and see if that's like the key phrase to jog Alice's memory. I wish they would do something like that in like a real game. Anything else? It's still 5 minutes or?
Yeah, you still got a little time left.
Still got 5 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
Whew, God, it's a long 5 minutes.
Okay, you know what? Chaineh.
Mercy kill. Okay. Mercy kill. All right.
He's been he.
But you know what?
5 minutes
to make it up to our audience, I would like to take a minute to talk about something that I don't like.
Ooh, alternate ending.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I think the secret ending that they shoved into the recoded movie on the remixes is horse shit. I think it's garbage. I think it's stupid. I don't think it sets up 3D nearly as much as they want it to. I think that like it needlessly spoils it. Like I know that the thought process is like, oh, everybody has already played it at this point. Like, these are for fans. Like this is a fun time for people who already know what's going on. But like for a lot of people, this is their first exposure to the Kingdom Hearts series.
Right.
So they added in, and it's just stupid. It's needless. It's pointless. Like, yeah, it sets up the Keyblade and the no name situation and yada yada yada. But like, Braig isn't his Birth by Sleep model. It drives me up the fucking wall. I know that they didn't have like budget, and I know they didn't have time, and sometimes they don't really give a shit about models if you're just supposed to buy that they're their past selves and whatever, which I hate. I hate that when they do that in every game where they're like, oh well, he's really fucking 12. No, he's not. He's not. You fuckers, just swap the head.
Swap the head.
A white stripe or something. Jesus Christ.
Swap the head.
And there are people who are like, well, that was on purpose because this is Braig and he doesn't have his heart. Blah, blah, blah. No. No. It's been 10 years. He's aged just like Enzo, just like Axel. Just he should have his long white hair and have wrinkles.
Yeah.
This should not be normal Braig. Oh my God. It goes right fucking through me.
I agree, PJ.
And for what? For what? So that we can get more fucking milquetoast young Xehanort, who I can't stand.
Oh, I hate him. I'm glad we can agree on that.
Shit.
I hate that guy.
Horse
Yeah.
shit. Okay, cool.
Are we gonna get Shane's thoughts on Recoded now?
I would love.
I'm gonna talk.
Yay!
Oh, thank God.
I've got things to say about Recoded and Coded in the movie. Now, I've been also, Pat, similar to you, I was a very sheltered child, not watching Mrs. Doubtfire.
Fucking PBS kids in here.
Not being able to play things outside of my country, like trying to get some of the final mixes. You try to get a hold of them, and to no avail because you gotta do some workarounds to do that back before 2013. So I only ever played Recoded, and then eventually watched the movie. I, to this day, still not have played original Coded. It's one of the few games that has been out of my grasp so far.
Your white whale.
I am white whale, whatever that means.
No, Coded is your white whale.
Oh my god, read a fucking book.
I'm not calling you
Jesus
a white whale. I would
Christ.
never.
I mean, I'm white, so there's that.
You're not a whale.
And you are a little pudgy.
Jesus Christ.
Speaking of Recoded, some of the things that I love is that change of gameplay style, how it goes from side-scroller to rail-type shooter with the Trickmaster fight to turn-based combat.
Love getting around.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I know.
TJ.
Kingdom Hearts games in this era, from like BBS to Dream Drop, are in this like experimental era. I mean,
Yes.
Kingdom Hearts is all about evolving, but going from like Kingdom Hearts 3 would not be as different from Kingdom Hearts 2 if they did not play around with the tools that are in front of them. And I feel like Recoded, having all these different styles put into this game, really shows that. And you can see stuff like the rail-type shooting in Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, you see that in the frozen little rail thing when you're shooting all the prismals.
Olympus has that too, yeah.
Yeah, Olympus has that. Monsters Inc. has that, where you ride on the door thing to find Boo's door, and that was a really cool thing that they were able to do. I'm glad they were able to expound upon that later, and I would love to see some kind of turn-based mechanic brought back. I know it was kind of brought back with no, I guess I was gonna say Flick Rush, but that was kind of done in real time. I really like the
it's kind of like an ATB.
Yeah, that was more of an ATB type deal. The Keyblade overclock system is really cool. I think it was an expansion on the combo boost ability. For those of you who aren't familiar with that, that's where if you keep hitting things, each hit will do more damage. Recoded did that, and instead each hit brought you more abilities. Like one lets you swing from far away, one increased the chance of money droppings. Like it was, I think it was really cool, and I hate that I got stuck there and never really brought back. The Matrix system was basically an ability tree that was lacking in the series. I love ability trees. You know, I'm playing Final Fantasy X for the first time right now, and I'm loving the sphere grid thing. And I'm like, this is really cool. And not only that, being able to change, because of that, you're able to change the difficulty mid-game. You could go from critical to beginner. So if you find, and vice versa. So if you find something too hard or too easy, you can adjust it and get loot accordingly. And they never did that ever again. And
That is neat.
And that's such a neat thing. And on top of that, Pat, like you said, it introduced really nice, good music. And they were able to use sounds in this like digital, cyber-y music type that just wasn't really used again until Kingdom Hearts 3 with some of their minigames. So they were experimenting with their gameplay and their music, which is really cool.
Do you have anything bad to say, though, Shane?
Oh, boy, I do. I think that's... PJ, you mentioned it being very episodic. It wasn't meant to be played in on an airplane for 5 hours.
Well, it wasn't.
It really wasn't, and I think that's kind of lost in this age of gaming. I think in that aspect it didn't age very well. Not to the game's fault. You don't know where you're going. Hindsight is 20/20. But unfortunately, not a lot of people play, especially Kingdom Hearts fans being older now. The optimal time to kind of play things is when you're waiting in line at like a pharmacy, at the grocery store, or when you're on the bus riding home from school. It's meant to be played in smaller chunks. And it's not, and that's something that we as people don't tend to do with gaming anymore. It's usually we have time, we can do these longer chunks of gaming. I also think that you guys mentioned in the Kingdom Hearts 1 episode that you love Kingdom Hearts 1, or in an earlier episode, that Kingdom Hearts 1, the stakes are huge.
That was the first episode.
Yeah, the overlooming, dread that surrounds the entire game, and Kingdom Hearts 1, that was a fantastic thing. Here, the stakes, I think, are very low. I don't really think that there's this... Sora lost his Keyblade at one point to Maleficent. We'd kind of already seen that before.
And not the real Sora either this time.
And it wasn't exactly. It was just Data Sora. The stakes are low.
the characters' names might as well be doesn't matter Sora, doesn't matter Riku, doesn't matter Roxas. That's when you say data something, the data hyphen, my head translates that to doesn't matter, not real.
Yeah, but like but that was the point.
I know, PJ doesn't just because this is the point doesn't make it good.
Here's the thing. If you think that that's not going to be a recurring theme in the next arc, you're out of your fucking mind.
If Data Sora is referenced directly in the next game, or I'll even give you the game after, I will eat something that one might wear on their head.
The game, the series is priming you to get comfortable with the idea that none of the Kingdom Hearts characters are real. Mm-hmm. It asks the question at the beginning of the first game, is any of this for real or not? Mm-hmm. And the next arc in Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be about perceptions of reality. Mm-hmm. And you have to get comfortable with the idea that the Kingdom Hearts characters aren't real. Because there's a very real possibility that they all came out of a fairy tale pop-up book.
Oh, God.
Canon. Look it up.
God. I know what you're saying, and I'm just not ready.
Yeah, and on the flip side, the characters in Unreality, are you going to for all of 4, are you just going to be like, this isn't real?
No,
this is unreality.
No, because
so I don't care about Yozora, but like that's not the point. That's not the point they're saying. They understand that you're going to think that, and they're challenging you on it. Because if you stop caring about fictional characters, how is Data Sora really any less real than the fictional Sora that you play in the video game?
Come on,
you're a bunch of polygons on a screen. It is a choice that they are making. Mm-hmm.
I wish I had as much faith in the intentionality that they had back in 2009 that you do.
I wish I had a head as big as yours.
That's noted.
To kind of wrap up my cons of the series, or not of the series.
Oh my God, Chaineh, you were talking. I'm so sorry. Go on.
Sorry.
No, buddy. I love it. We're in a Coliseum. I love it when people fight.
You are on our show. So.
I guess. Well, and so you love fighting, so here we are. I will admit that some of the challenges for the system sectors, like having to not use certain abilities or to only use the Keyblade or something like, some of them were a little ridiculous and made it kind of tedious, I will admit. But a lot of, I did like the ones that are like, oh, play at night, play using the, so it was, but yeah, some of them were kind of tedious. And of course, the thing that people always tend to bring up with Recoded is that there are times where the game, and no, I've already said my positives. This is a negative. The chain of memories. No, I'll start here. It went back and basically repeated Kingdom Hearts 1 and Chain of Memories story-wise twice. It went through Kingdom Hearts 1.
It is brutal at the
end.
end.
Then it went through Chain of Memories, which was already a retread of Kingdom Hearts 1. So we're doing a retread of a retread back to back with a retread.
I can't defend it.
Yeah.
It's not great.
It's not the best.
It's just fatiguing.
Especially when it comes to the Disney stuff, it's... Yeah, it treads ground that... Now, I understand if this is your first game, but maybe you're doing something there. I don't have the experience of Recoded being my first Kingdom Hearts game.
God bless the people who can,
stick with it.
can say that was their first.
Yeah, but if you start there, like...
Then maybe it's not as bad, I don't know. But maybe, as somebody who had played the games, I'm like, okay, yeah, we're here, I've seen this. Cutscene skip, So that's kind of my pros and cons of the game. Overall, I tend to lean on the positive side of Recoded, the DS game, and I look at the remixed version as a sad existence that is probably the version that most people today will experience.
And that is a shame, because, it is a well-made game. Is it my favorite Kingdom Hearts game? No, it's not even close. But, as a Nintendo DS game, it's pretty impressive. It's solid. It's not really committing any cardinal sins in the gameplay sense. It's just that as a piece of a puzzle that I really, really enjoy, it's, the piece that I care the least about. And that's fine.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I would love for you guys to stick around in my domain for a while. I do like talking to you. I don't get many visitors here. But Pat, you said a slur earlier, and I don't think you should be allowed here.
I just said floaty, with quotes. I didn't say it at you.
We were recording when he said...
Please keep that in, but bleep it. Keep it in, but bleep it.
I'm gonna have a Donald quack over it.
Keep all this in too.
I know they will.
Oh God.
I know they will.
And
Well, I guess we'll get going, Shane. I'm sorry if we made a mess.
PJ, you drove him, so I guess you got to take him home. You can come back whenever.
I'm drunk.
Well, you guys are gonna make that in your car. Get out.
Well, what a day. What a time.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's end it on a positive note.
Okay.
Actually.
Oh,
Yeah, we have a little bit of news. Actually,
We do?
the gasp.
So for one thing, Million Dreams Award. Those are announced. I believe you can vote now. Feel free to vote for us. But you honestly, I don't know who all is nominated yet because it's not public.
Kind of.
But I also kind of know that maybe some really cool other podcasts are nominated, and whatever they are, you should go listen to them.
Yeah.
We'll link them below.
Listen to all of them.
Vote for whoever you actually want to win, et cetera, et cetera. There's some other people who are nominated in different categories who are friends of ours.
A lot of friends.
I'm not going to openly say that you should ignore all the other people because I don't actually think that's true, but I do believe that you should really go through the nominations and bit by bit, like, look at what the person has been nominated for and you know, let your heart be your guiding fart or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Point of order number 2. I have decided that we are going to open up our email to suggestions, questions, comments, and from here on out, the end of the show will be a closing segment where we answer your questions or comment on your comments.
That's fun. I like that.
That way it's not a wet fart.
Yeah, no more wet farts.
No more wet farts. No wet farts podcast.
No sad
No
face,
farts.
no wet farts.
The email address is nosadfacepodcast@gmail.com. Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. I love it.
Yeah.
Good, because I've got
Yeah,
so
good
many
times.
things to say and complain to you guys about.
Well, speaking of which, Chain, why don't you tell us where we could find you? Why don't you push some things that you're going to push, as long as they're not drugs again, and let us know what you're promoting.
My domain, but all right. So you can find me and you can listen to me at Chaineh. That's CHAINEH .bluesky.social.
I'm so proud of you for getting it.
You ever just
job,
not know how to
bud.
spell your name? Damn. Or dang,
My name
whatever.
is 2 letters.
Yeah.
So.
You can also see my work at KH Database, as well as marchcaprice.com. And, of course, it is after May 23rd, so you may notice my name on the Million Dreams Award nominee list under Content Creator of the Year.
Oh,
Just like...
congratulations.
Thank you. And just like...
Chain, it's not past May 23rd for us.
Yeah, I didn't know this until just now.
Oh, I know. Ooh hee hee.
Sorry, guys.
I will break NDA once. MDA.
NDA for the
MDA.
MDA.
Oh, we got me
MDA.
some Yay!
Oh.
We all said it, echolalia.
But I do encourage you to look at all the nominees, look at the work they've done, because I'm sure I don't know anyone else that's nominated other than these two, and I don't know if that's for that one. But please take a look at all the nominees and, decide amongst yourselves who is the Content Creator of the Year. So
Look at all the good we do.
look at us.
Yay. Who would have thought? Not me.
All right.
It's always us three.
Well, thanks for listening to another fun episode of No Sad Face Podcast, or if this is your first time, welcome. We post episodes every other Saturday, or at least we try to, and you can find out all about our past shows, stuff that we're doing, stuff that's coming up, the links to my stuff, the link to Pat's stuff, the links to Chaineh's stuff, on nosadface.com. Also, big shout out, of course, to David Russell, who does all of our music and who edits the video versions of the podcast. Esperoba, who has done the art for the main podcast and for the special one-off Coliseum episode. Thank you so much, Esper. You're great. Esper's great. Go and follow. Again, all of their links will be at nosadface.com.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah.
You can leave a comment. You can leave a review. We're all over the place.
Smash that
we're on
bell.
Spotify. We're on your favorite podcatcher, you know. So, catch a pod. Pew, 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 pew.
Pew, 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 pew.
All right.
Sweet.
David has also asked us to not stop recording immediately because he wants to add stuff to after the
Oh, okay.
after, just like, whatever. So I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you guys a little secret.
Yay.
Now that we've officially stopped.
More
Are you
slurs.
gay?
Okay, but that's not relevant. I did not play Recoded when it came out.
What?
I didn't play Recoded for the first time until like 2 years ago, maybe.
What?
Because
What?
when it came out, I was like, I've got a lot going on right now, and like, honestly,
Sure.
this isn't that important, so I'm not going to play it.
Oh
Okay,
my god,
thanks,
fuck you,
bye!
fuck you, dude.
Get out of my house.